Today we're talking about the Sony A7V, and this is not it. This is the A7 IV, and I thought we'd just do a video kind of speculating on some of the rumors coming out about the A7V, what we can expect in terms of specs, and of course, when this thing might be coming out. So yeah, if you don't know what the A7 IV is, it's a great hybrid camera, kind of an intermediate, basically a lesser version of the ultimate hybrid camera, which is the Sony A1. It's gonna do everything pretty well, not amazingly, and if you do need a specific type of photography or video, you're gonna choose one of Sony's cameras based on that. We've got the A7 series here, like the A7 IV, which is kind of good at everything across the board. The A7S series focuses on video and low light capabilities, and then we've got the R series, which is all about resolution, high resolution stuff. And finally, we've got the A9 series that focuses on speed over everything else. And most notably, the new A9 III shoots at 120 frames per second, which is just insane. Anyways, getting back to the A7 IV, this has just been a tremendous camera, but I think we can start to kind of assume what we can see in the A7 V that's probably about a year out, I would say. It's the beginning of 2024 right now, and I think we can probably expect to see it maybe by the end of the year or early 2025. Now, I say that because a lot of their newer cameras are coming out more often. There was a big gap between the A7 III and IV, but yeah, with technology advancing, we're starting to see more and more stuff more often, I think. So let's talk a bit about what we can expect and what we probably cannot expect. First is probably a new sensor. I would really hope so. Maybe around 40 megapixels or so, an upgrade over the 33 awesome megapixel sensor in this thing, improved dynamic range, low light capabilities, and I'd like to see it around 40, which is about a 20% increase over its predecessor here, which was kind of what the A7 III to the 4 looked like at 24 megapixels to 33. I was okay with that upgrade, and if you need to crop in at all, it's much welcomed. What I don't think we're gonna see is a stacked sensor. They're just too expensive, and they're for more like an A9 series camera or something that has really crazy fast readouts, and the A7 series stuff is just not made for that, and Sony has to keep the price reasonable, so I don't see a stacked sensor in the A7 V's future. An amazing leap in technology with the A9 III, we finally got a global shutter, which is just fantastic, making flash photography and just so many other practical uses at our fingertips, but I really don't expect to see it in a camera like this. And again, just because of the price point. So yeah, maybe a little bit sad, but I just don't think we're there yet. Next, let's talk about shooting speed. Now, the A7 IV is capped at 10 frames per second shooting, or down to 6 in uncompressed RAW. Now, I would love to see that bumped up in the A7 V to 15 frames per second, which is the cap for third-party lenses, which I think a lot of people are shooting on the A7 IV. There's so many amazing options available, but yeah, if you didn't know, third-party lenses are basically capped at 15 frames per second shooting with autofocus continuous or any kind of tracking. Now, if you do need more than that, of course, you've got the A1 and you've got the A9 series and whatnot. So yeah, they can't cannibalize their other cameras just to make everybody happy in a low-budget option. It just doesn't work like that. But I would like to see it brought up to 15 frames per second, absolutely. And yeah, I'm pretty firm on that. Next, expect another leap forward in AI technology, most notably with the autofocus. Now, all the newer cameras are coming out with AI-assisted focus, and it helps you basically track your subject depending on the algorithms to get the best shot. And they're really pushing this, and it's really impressive in a lot of their newer cameras, so I fully expect to see AI stuff brought into the A7 V. Now, sadly, I don't think some of the best features are gonna make its way into the A7 V, like pre-capture that we see on the A9 III, and that makes me sad being a wildlife shooter and whatnot, but I totally get it. You can't cannibalize the best cameras for the budget option. That said, we can expect to see a continuation of some of the great features that we've come to know and love, like focus breathing compensation and that. Expect IBIS and the hybrid IBIS to get a boost using software and of course the actual physical IBIS in the camera to give us rock steady footage. It's just something that's getting better and better, and yeah, expected in this day and age. For video shooters, I think that we can actually expect 4K 120 10-bit. I think if all our cell phones are doing it, my Pocket 3 can do it, all that stuff, I think it's time to throw it in a camera that costs this much money. I think at least up to 4K 60, we can hope for no crop, because that's a really big thing when it comes to video shooters, and just a huge complaint overall for a lot of people. Cap it at 120 and keep the 240 and above for the specialty film cameras, of course. I don't see a problem with that, but yeah, I think the time of 4K 120 is absolutely here, and at least no crop up to 4K 60. Now, in terms of the actual body itself, the A7 IV is fantastic. All the customization options, all the buttons and switches that just make this thing a breeze to master and just switch between photo and video effortlessly. It's just awesome. They did a great job at weather sealing it even better as well, but there can be improvements, of course. I think we need to see the upgraded flip screen to a tilt and flip screen. This is a little bit limiting, and the newer ones in the A7R series and whatnot are just fantastic. So let's throw that into every camera moving forward. Furthermore, I think we need to see an upgraded LCD resolution and EVF. I think that we're at that point as well, where we kind of expect a little bit better than the bare bones. The competition has in the past been just miles ahead of Sony, but they are slowly catching up. So other than that, I don't expect to see something like pixel shift. I think that's gonna also be reserved for the high resolution cameras and whatnot. But overall, I think it's still gonna be a huge, great seller. And I probably expect, like I said, to see it within the next year. Now, how much is it gonna cost? Well, given inflation that you can't walk outside without spending 500 bucks these days, probably expect a 10 to 20% increase over the A7 IV. Is that reasonable? I don't know. Everything kind of seems crazy these days, and there's no real reasonable anymore. Am I gonna pay for it? Probably.
So a quick recap, guys. The specs that I'd expect and not expect for the A7 V would include a new, better 40 megapixel sensor with improved dynamic range, hopefully 15 frames per second shooting to hit that third-party lens cap. Improved AI autofocus is a no-brainer, 4K 120 shooting in 10-bit, and at least no crop up to 4K 60, ideally all the way up to 120, and an upgraded body including EVF and LCD and a flip screen, and all of this hopefully for under $3,000. What I don't think will be included is a stacked sensor, a global shutter, anything above 15 frames per second shooting, pre-capture unfortunately with some other exclusive features to other cameras, and I think you're dreaming if you can expect this thing for the same price as the A7 IV. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be closer to the $3,000 mark personally. Let me know if you think my predictions are on point or I'm way off down in the comments.
Let me know your thoughts about this camera, and of course, if you hear anything that I don't hear, let me know in an email and drop all your questions and your comments down in the description. Thanks so much for watching the video, having a little bit of fun today, and like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.